Namaskar, students. Today I am talking on the topic called Introduction of Wetland. This is a topic related to the BBA program in Environment Sciences, and in this particular session, we will have an introductory understanding of wetland throughout the globe and a glimpse of India also. So students, let us proceed. Uh, in view of understanding what all are the wetlands, there are many different types of wetlands. These are includes areas as marsh, fen, peats, related lands, and shallow water bodies. Now, we need to understand what all are these areas, mainly have got some water and have got certain amount of the grass or greenery or vegetation over there. So a kind of shrub sort of area being developed with the existence of the water, and some or the other time it is saline water also. Most of are natural, but some of them are made by human being also, as they can be the permanent or seasonal. In terms of their existence, in terms of seasonality, or in terms of their permanent existence in the environment throughout the year, depends on the situation. Most of the coastal areas with wetlands or the water body dependent wetlands are seasonal, but they are also permanent. But the main land related wetlands are not permanent in nature. The water in wetland can be following of static and can be fresh, back, backfish, and saline. Marine water that does not exceed 6-meter depth at low tide is also classes at wetland, and many rivers uh, tributaries are globally significant wetlands. Students, in view of understanding this concept of wetland emergence in the globe, we need to understand the different climatic situations and different climatic zones where the ecosystem or ecotarian system is very close to the landscapes, and where the landscapes have got an opportunity to restore that water for a time, uh, or a spontaneous a reflection of that time, the water body grown up with some sort of shrubs and vegetation. Even the marine water can be called up as the wetland. Now we will talk about a very important topic that is called Ramsar Convention on Wetland, held in 1971. First of all, we need to understand what is this convention is all about. There are different types of interpretation about the wetlands throughout the globe, and their mapping and their measurement techniques are also numerous in nature, depending on their situation and their regions. This makes it difficult to accurately measure the numbers and the extent of wetland globally, and therefore there was a convention held in the beginning of 70s or 1971 at Ramsar, and known as Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. This was the first of its kind of international convention taken place. Okay, let us try to understand what is the role of wetland in our ecology or ecosystem. Students, wetland plays a vital role in our hydrological cycle. In terms of hydrological cycle, we must understand hydrology is space available to the planet within the ecosystem, where the organisms are set with the water bodies, and this organism are either dependent or are the running cause of that water system. So wetland plays a vital role in the hydrological cycle. Either they are taking some sort of contribution from that water body and they are contributing to the same. They are natural harvesters of rainwater, like rainwater, and acting as sinks into which surface water and groundwater flows from surrounding catchment. Students, if we are talking about the existence of water, mainly water on planet comes through the raining system throughout the year. And once we have got some sort of space available to contain that water, and that surface easily catch hold the water and creates the different kinds of catchment areas related to the ground level or to the surrounding. So wetland stores this with water for verifying amount of time. Some replenish groundwater and some regulate water flows. In the broader term, the role of wetland in our ecology and ecosystem is very important since it is important for harvesting purpose. It is important for the underground water or the leveling of underground water, and further it is equally important because the river flow may maintain some sort of water at the coastal areas, and this may grown up certain amount of vegetation which may help us to have got catch hold of the soil or fertilized soil. Let us talk about wetland and society. What is the relationship of wetland and society? Those students, we are talking about very introductory type of understanding about what is wetland. But for us, it is very important to understand what is wetland and what is the society and what all are their contribution to each other. Wetlands typically offers a wide variety of benefits to society, and they played a central role of human development throughout the history. Though in pursuance of our civilization, we have not given a lot of importance to the this uh, coastal areas or the water-based vegetations called mangroves or wetlands, but definitely they are very strongly favoring our environment. And due to their losses, we are having a very tough time onto the planet, especially the events like tsunami and the coastal flood, etc. In terms of great civilizations, many of them were dependent, including the Maya civilization, Inca and Aztecs in Latin America, and Khmer in Asia, and Mars in Arab and Mesopotamia, and so on. Why to forget about the Sindhu Ghati Sabhyata or Harappan Sabhyata, which was actually at the coastal area of the river Indus called Sindhu. So this is what the initial area which was uh, filled by the water and have got a rich soil, and after that the mankind grew up at the shore and utilized for the development, and this their development had eruption, undoubtedly eruption of that wetland, and now we are having some sort of problems for our environment. We will discuss this thing later. Let us talk about a few very popular wetlands throughout the world in terms of their capacities. Some of the world's largest wetlands are well known. They all are heavily modified, globally significant, and agricultural as well as human activities. So you can understand, students, if we are talking about the their heavily modification in terms of global significance, for one is the agriculture, second one is human activity, then we can understand these are prominent for our existence, or we can state It is very important for the existence of mankind. The few names or well-known names are Okavango Delta in Botswana, which is very important tourism related place where the migratory birds are there, and then fishery areas and coastal beautification have been altered by the name of Botswana Delta or Okavango Delta in Botswana. Then it is Pantal in Brazil, famous for wildlife tourism. Nile Delta or Nile Delta in Egypt, which is one of the important delta in the world, or that delta had created a great or grand wetland areas, which is place of many habitants, and these habitants are very important in our ecosystem and our food cycle. Why to forget Ganges Delta in India and the border related to India and Bangladesh, and Mekong Delta in Vietnam, and so on. Now, students, as it's a very important topic in terms of international convention, the Ramsar Convention on Wetland had contributed a lot of good things to the mankind, and therefore we need to understand what was this particular convention is all about. So let us talk about this particular convention. The destruction of wetland has led to several initiatives to protect and restore them. In terms of global development, in terms of the development of tourism and many other allied areas, the world have witnessed that there should be certain prominent benefits to the government through the governments towards the ecology or environment. The most significant of these in Ramsagar Convention's wetland, which was held in the year of 1971 in Iran. The Ramsar Convention on Wetland initially aimed to conserve wetland ecosystems, in particular for their importance as an habitat of the world. Most of the time, we as a student of tourism may think that tourism words are only the part of our locus beauty of bird watching and all, but they are fairly playing a vital key role in our ecosystem. Students, if we are losing our wetlands, definitely the migration of the birds will not be there, and therefore there we will lose the total connect between one link to another link of our food cycle, and which may definitely create a lot of change in our ecosystem or environment, which we have to pay a lot in the rivers. Since then, since the Ramsar Convention on Wetland has shifted focus, it now seeks to protect wetland not only for their value to wildlife but also to benefit they provide to humans, particularly people living to poverty. Students, this particular convention is identically known for the conservation in steps being taken by the international community for the wetlands, because the so-called unsustainable or non-sustainable development throughout the world had uh, make the loss of those wetlands, and therefore we have witnessed a lot of disasters in one or the other way. So it is the key focus. On the contrary, the key aspect of principle of this convention was wise use of Ramsar Convention on what wetland advocate. Wetland advocates meant for the equestrian and the landscape or the masses or agriculture or genomes or biomes available at equestrian life and the places at different wild areas. So this is a place, a thick and thin place where the entire ecosystem or entire fragile ecosystem is existing, and that plays a vital role in terms of the development of mankind. Signatories to Ramsar Convention on Wetlands are obliged to designate at least the wetland in their country as protected. Now, after this convention, the treaty needs to be followed by the countries that they are going to contribute about the safety and security of these wetland areas, because this uh, this particular convention had listed the name of the paramount wetlands available in the different parts of the countries or different parts of the world. So it is like a very important place. In addition, they are obliged to promote and wise use of all wetlands in territory, including those who have not been designated by Ramsar sites. Ramsar sites, what all are the Ramsar sites? First, we need to answer this particular uh, aspect. Ramsar sites are those water bodies or near wetlands available in the water bodies areas which have been uh, counted by this particular convention throughout the world, and they have been abide the countries have been abide to protect those wild areas or wetland areas for the wise use. Now wise use is, there is no term of prohibition of their usage in one or the other way, but it is what the wise use of those areas have been advised. The most recent significant example of this particular convention was the most South Sudan in 2013, recently, the most recent signatory event. And this has been taken from the source being taken by www.ramasar.org. So students, if you would like to know further, you may visit that particular site related to the convention. Why wetlands are important, though we have talk a bit about that, but let us talk this particular aspect a little. For centuries, people in Europe or in South Asia or many mainlands were not found these wetlands are very difficult, very important. Rather, they found these are the difficult areas for farming and other purposes. But later on, their attitude, as soon as they've got civilized, they have changed their attitude towards the wetland, and now they are widely accommodating that as available diverse services, and they are approaching it as a especially to poor people and the biodiversity support. To a large extent, the services that wetland provides stems from the biodiversity ecological characters, which helps. Now there are for certain services. These are five. Five terms: ecological character. One, the structure, inner relationship between biological, chemical, and physical components. Now we need to understand ecological character meant for the characteristics of ecology. It is structured and they have got their inner relationships. It is being related in biological format, it is related in chemical format, and it is related in physical components, etc. Let us take a minute and then we need to clarify this. For example, ecological character of the planet or the biodiversity meant for every genomes or biomes available, and they are complementing each other, so as the landscape, the water bodies, or the place, those are the little water areas filled with the shrubs, and they are having their different ecological character, and they are structured because they are interrelated. Water body is related to the landscape is related to water body, and water body is related or dependent on vegetation, vice versa. Now they have got three most important aspects. One is biological, one is the chemical, and one is the physical component. Biological, as far as biological components are concerned, every living organism is made up from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So this has been the biological aspect. If you talked about biological aspect or more than chemical aspect, we have talked about the chemical fermentation or existence of anything or everything in chemical manner, and then their physical component, the grass, the land, then their existence, their use, and then their eruption, and then comes back. So it's a kind of process. Therefore, we are in a large, we are using five typical words: ecological character, the structure, and the relationship between biological, chemicals, physical compounds. So these are five parameters. These can be classified into four groups. These are provisioning services, regulating services, cultural services, and supporting services. Now, take one more minute and we will be able to talk on this particular aspect. What is that, right? We need to understand, we need to understand that what is the provisioning services. Provisioning services are the classified into broad groups that people or the societies, those are dependent on that, they have got a provisioning services. They are taking the usage of wetlands or wetland oriented product, or the grass, or the vegetation, or certain things which may be called as soil or water, etc., even minerals, even fisheries, and even the other living beings. Regulatory services are, we need to regulate that water body, we need to provide certain sort of giving also after taking the provisions of the services. Then it is have got the cultural services and supporting services in lieu of cultural services to related to that particular water bodies or what wetlands. Every vegetation, every plant, every area have got so much to our culture because it contributes to our civic norms, and then we need to support. We need to support the culture, and culture will support that particular system via regulating services. So these are four prominent group of services. I will repeat this thing. This is very important here to talk about. These are five initial things related to biodiversity: ecological character, structure and inner relationship, biological, chemical, and then physical components. The next is the four classified into broad groups: provisioning of services, regulating services, cultural services, and supporting. So these are supporting services. These are four of its own type. The different types of services can be closely linked. All four are related to one to another. For example, provisioning services may be linked to cultural services, where people attribute spiritual values to the product and then obtain the from the wetland. ईश्वर को और नेचर को हम भगवान मानते हैं. This is a kind of aspect that we were talking about. Okay, so let us proceed to next slide. Uh, in lieu of understanding the next discussion, we need to talk about I thought okay, we'll have to talk about now what all are the threats the wetlands have. Wetlands are dynamic ecosystems. It has been created mainly by nature, though some or the other wetlands are also being made up by mankind, but it drastically they are less in number. So these dynamic ecosystems are changing naturally over time as a consequence of process such as erosion, sedimentation, and coastal flooding. As well, I was talking about why it is important now. These are the threats to the wildlife, or we may be called a wetland, because every process in the environment is close to one to the another. If you are doing any effect to single ton unit available to the environment called ecology, ecosystem, biodiversity, or biomes or genomes or environment, the effect can be mount on to the others, and this is what the aspect related to the wetlands. The threat is wetlands are dynamic ecosystem changing naturally over time as consequences of process such as erosions. How does erosion comes from? Erosion is an outcome by the several urban or the civic activities by the name of development being called taken through. Why do sedimentation comes from? This is again the man-made or the big changes in the nature or natural changes because of human tendencies. However, human activities either within the wetlands or in the catchment in which they are situated can alter these natural processes and accelerate the rate of change threatening the wetland continuous existence. I would not state that mankind is affecting wetlands directly, but it's a slow process. If you are if you are affecting one process to the another, the effect will be marginalized. And then, therefore, we are witnessing time after time, we are having a loss of this type of spaces available. While threats vary between regions and even within wetlands, agriculture is considered to be the most significant. Agriculture in terms of agricultural landscapes, we are talking about agriculture or the most or first civilized civic activity in surrounded by the water bodies by the name of civilization. Man had encroached the thin layer between water bodies and the landscapes, and that is called the agriculture, and that is called the significant threat or loss to the particular wetlands, which are initially thick in number, but now these are losing their pace. But it is also due to nature. Many wetlands have been extensively and irreversibly modified as human by to increase agricultural productivity, as I already mentioned. And some or the others wetlands are being derived because of hydrology. We have got a capacity of human dependency population throughout the globe and throughout the countries and regions for their uh, power requirements. We are creating dams and we are creating reservoirs and etc. And that is affecting the topography. And lastly, it is an outcome of the loss of those wetlands. Biofuel, especially the new emergence step being taken by created for biofuel is also one of the reasons for the threat of wetlands. So we have discussed thoroughly about the major threats to the wetlands. Let's talk about an outside glimpse of wetlands in India, and I will try to provide you some more handy notes on that because it is what a statistic. So statistics I would not like to give you in the mode of video. I will provide you the by the name of some document so that you will be able to hand on that particular practice. So let us have the practices, glimpses of wetland in India. Wetland helps in supporting directly and indirectly millions of people in India, including supply of clean water and food, fiber, and raw materials. So now you can understand to 130 crore people how important the wetlands are. It is providing food, fiber, and raw material of different reputation. There are 19 different types of wetlands in India, 19 till now. Initially, it was, I mean, we are talking about current scenarios. There were many wetlands available, but they have been destroyed or they have been evaporated due to the sudden changes onto the country geological map. It includes mangroves, high altitude lakes, marsh, and ponds. It covers an estimated 3% of India's land area. Now you can understand how grand we are. Almost 4,42,000 or some kilometers, square kilometers area we have got. And to this particular area, 3% of India's land. So you can understand it was a great amount of space, but it is very sorry to state, unfortunately, we have lost so much of wetland areas. Now they are no more. Wetlands are under threat from development activities and pollution pressure or population pressure either. Now, how population is affecting creating pollution that we had talked about in environment impact on tourism or tourism impact on environment rather. Water pollution and dumping of waste are some of the major threats to the wetlands and birds in India. Wetlands or wildlife are closely related, even the birds and migratory birds and then other species. And if we are making the wetland endangered, definitely the other species are getting into the danger, and this may definitely hurt our own system because it's a cycle, by the way. Wetlands are also important as resting sites for migratory birds. The conservation of wetland is important and essential in India for sustainable food production and availability of water to people and other creatures. Now, most of us are not giving the importance to the wildlife or the vegetation. Wildlife and vegetation is such an important ingredient, especially wetlands in the country like India, where we have tropical, subtropical type of environment. Once we are getting a huge population, we need to think about the per capita resource available to the population. Therefore, to restore water, to restore agriculture, to restore minerals, and to restore the underground water mainly, and the different habitat we need to preserve those area. So friends, for this particular topic we have done with the some statistical part shall be able to give it to you, and you shall be able to make it out some statistics related to the major wetland areas. And with that, we are going to complete this particular topic, wetlands. Thank you so much. Uh, I shall be appreciate your efforts if you are uh, pursue this video and try to learn something.